The New York Knicks just got a wave of bizarre news. Let's talk about it. My name is Paul. This is Big Apple Sports. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you very much. Please just take a quick second, like and subscribe. Does me a huge solid. And I'm trying to build a big community here of New York sports fans. I cover both the Giants and the Knicks. When you like and subscribe, it grows that community and helps us have like a place where we can have fun, follow some news, have some friendly debates, and just discuss all things New York. So take a second, like and subscribe, be a part of that. You don't want to miss out. So lots of Knicks news this week, and some of it is just like things that make me scratch my head. First one we're going to start off with is Draymond Green has come out and said he believes the Knicks are a sneaky Ja Morant candidate. If you haven't followed things, it sounds like the Grizzlies are trying to find a trade partner for Ja Morant, maybe trying to do a full-on rebuild there. We'll see what happens. But Draymond Green says a dark horse I'd throw out there is the New York Knicks. I haven't seen any reports linking them, but imagine Ja Morant at Madison Square Garden. That's box office. And while I do agree that a talent like Ja Morant, when he has some of his big crazy dunks and awesome finishes, yes, that would be fun at Madison Square Garden. But this literally makes zero sense for the Knicks. Like, for one, you'd be taking on a big-time salary, which means you'd have to get rid of a big-time salary. You're obviously, nobody would trade Brunson for Ja Morant, so then you're looking at maybe OG Anunoby. Like, he is the anchor of our defense. You're not going to have two, you're not going to partner Brunson and Morant, who neither of them are really known for their defense. They both really need the ball in their hands, and get rid of like your defensive anchor. And same thing, you're not going to get rid of a big man and have just such a small lineup of guards. There's just, any way you look at this, this doesn't make sense. It's not going to happen. I just thought it was wild to hear the Knicks thrown out there as a Ja Morant candidate. However, Ja Morant has a teammate who I actually think would be an amazing candidate, and it sounds like it's very possible that the Grizzlies might consider trading Jaren Jackson Jr. They traded Desmond Bane in the summer, and they said like this was it, but now all of a sudden it seems like a full-on reset might be inevitable. And if Jaren Jackson is available, the Knicks have to go all in on him. And don't get me wrong, I love Karl Anthony Towns. I think this team can win a championship with Karl Anthony Towns. There are some things he does so well, and if the Knicks finish this season with Karl Anthony Towns and never trade him, that's fine by me. He's a great player. This isn't an I hate Karl Anthony Towns and we need to get rid of him. This is a Jaren Jackson really might be exactly what the Knicks needed. If they could find a way to trade Karl Anthony Towns for Jaren Jackson, it could be huge. Because you saw in that recent game, they kind of had to sit Karl Anthony Towns down the stretch because they needed to clamp down on defense, and that's just not Karl Anthony Towns' strong suit. But Jaren Jackson Jr., let me pull it up here. Look down here. Not only is he a two-time All-Star, he's been a Defensive Player of the Year. He's had 2 years on the defensive first team, and last year, this most recent year, he was all defense on the second team. This is one of the best defenders in the NBA. And truthfully, you're not really even losing a ton on the offensive end. If you look at his season, he's 18.5 points down from the 22 he had last year. But he's a career 36 or 37% three shooter. I guess he had some rough years in here, but recent years he's around the 36 or 37% mark. That would be down from what Karl Anthony Towns did last year, but that's actually slightly better than what we're getting out of Karl Anthony Towns right now. And yes, Karl Anthony Towns is a much better rebounder, but with Mitchell Robinson and Josh Hart, and it's not like Jaren Jackson can't rebound. He can get some rebounds. I don't know that a rebounder is as important as a defensive anchor is right now. And so, in my opinion, this would be like if you can find a way to trade Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know like what pick you would have to attach to it. Maybe you have to give up like a Tyler Kolek, a Pacome Daddier, something like that. But Jaren Jackson really could be that missing piece that this team needs. So comment below, would you do some sort of Karl Anthony Towns for Jaren Jackson swap if we were able to keep Brunson, Bridges, and Anunoby? Let me know what you think. Another bit of interesting news that's come up. I have one more after this as well. Mitchell Robinson had a very interesting tweet. He said, this is a family show, so I'm going to, edit a little bit what he said. He said, stuff is about to get real. And that is particularly interesting coming from him. Like, if Brunson tweets this, I think we're all thinking, like, okay, Brunson's locking in. Like, he's going to, go on a big stretch. The Knicks are going to start winning some games. And, it could be that that's all this is. But with Mitchell Robinson in particular, there's been so much about his contract. Like, why hasn't he why haven't the Knicks come to an agreement with him? He was asked about it the other day, and he's like, you got to talk to my agent. Like, I'm just focusing on balling, and, like, I respect that. That's good. But, like, it is hanging over the Knicks' head that he is going to be a free agent. And, like, he does so much for the Knicks. Such a great rebounder. He is a good defender. But it's like, I don't know that they're going to have the money to sign him. And if they do have big-time money, is his free throw shooting and his health too big of a liability to give that money to him? Because they'd have to, with what he's worth, they'd probably have to come to some sort, like they'd have to, finagle something somewhere else to make it work. I'm not going to get into all the different ways they could do that, but the point is, a person who a lot of people are wondering about his future with the Knicks has said that things are about to get real. So, like, that's just going to be something to keep an eye on. Is it possible he gets put in a trade? Is it possible, maybe he's just saying, like I had mentioned with Brunson, maybe he's just like, hey, I'm about to pop off. I've been working hard. Things are about to get real here. We're going to go on our championship run now. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I thought that was pretty wild as well. Last bit of news that I thought was interesting is Carmelo Anthony kind of gave a little bit of a challenge to OG Anunoby, and I love this. He basically came out and said, like, if OG Anunoby was more aggressive, he could be the best two-way player in the NBA. And he mentioned, like, Jaylen Brown for the Celtics has made that claim, but he kind of backs it up with how much he attacks on the offensive end. And he says, like, if I'm the best two-way player in the NBA, like OG Anunoby could be, I can't have 2 points and 2 rebounds in a game. He's referencing that Pistons game. Like, you got to attack. And he's like, I love OG as being the best two-way player in the NBA, but I don't believe that OG believes that, because if he believed that, he would make sure he put his imprint every single night on the offensive end. And if you kind of look through, like, his game log, you can see what Karl Anthony Towns is talking about. Like, monster game against Portland, 24.7 rebounds, had his huge defense, only 15 against the Suns, but it wasn't the best shooting night it had. Like, everybody in the NBA has those. But then all of a sudden you get 5 points against the Pistons. And, if it's 5 points because he goes 1 for 10, then it's like, well, he tried on the offensive end. His shot just wasn't there. It happens. But he only took 4 shots in that game. He disappeared on the offensive end, and that has happened far too often. Down here against the Cavs, another big-time game on Christmas, only 8 points, only took 7 shots. This one was more of an off-shooting night against the 76ers, but 2 points, 3 rebounds. Like, OG Anunoby is an incredible player. And you know what? Sometimes Brunson and Towns, they're just cooking, and the offense just gives them the ball and lets them do what they do. But, like, OG Anunoby, I really think could be like what the Knicks need to truly break through at the next level. Like, he is the anchor of this defense, and he is a very good scorer. And they can't have him disappearing in big games and just being too conservative and too willing to sit out on offense, because he's just too talented for that. So I loved Melo coming out and saying, like, hey, You have every tool you need to be the best two-way player in the NBA, but you got to believe that, and you got to put your imprint every single night on the offensive end. It's like the old, I think Kobe talked about it once, like, I'd rather go 0 for 20 shooting than 0 for 4, because in that 0 for 4 night, that means I gave up on myself and I didn't believe I was going to be able to turn it around and score. Like, everybody's going to have off shooting nights, and I'm not saying if he's having a terrible shooting night, he needs to let it fly 20 times. But, like, if you believe in your ability, you believe in your ability to get to the basket, to score points, and to make a big impact on offense, that needs to be an every single night thing. And I would love to see that from OG Anunoby. I do think he's getting better at doing that than he was in previous years. But I truly think he is a star in this league. And if we can get more consistency on the offensive side of the ball out of him, it would be huge for the Knicks. So you guys, give me your thoughts on all that weird news. Like I said, like and subscribe on the way out. Trying to build an awesome Knicks and Giants community here, so make sure you're a part of that. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you with some more news tomorrow.